In the year 2020, many Confederate monuments across the United States were removed after the Charleston church shooting in 2015, the Unite the Right rally in 2017, and the murder of George Floyd in 2020. In the year 2021, more were removed as part of a nationwide movement to address racism and white supremacy. If you've noticed, the years mentioned are not distant. These are dates relative to slavery, Jim Crow, or the Civil Rights Movement. The dates are recent and demonstrate just how long race has been an issue within the United States of America and remains a constant in the plight of blacks in America. The removal of the Confederate statues was widely seen as a significant step forward for the Civil Rights Movement. It signifies the rejection of symbols and the legacy of white supremacy, allowing for a more inclusive and representative public space, particularly for Black Americans who have long been offended by the degree of reverence given to Confederate leaders who fought to preserve slavery. In 2023, there were 9 major U.S. military bases that were formally named in honor of Confederate military leaders. All bases were in former Confederate states, such as Fort Benning, Georgia, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Gordon, Georgia, Fort Hill, Virginia, Fort Hood, Texas, Fort Lee, Virginia, Fort Pickett, Virginia, Fort Polk, Louisiana, and Fort Rucker, Alabama. This shows the magnitude of effort allowed by the United States to support the preservation of racism over equality. Finally, in 2023, all were renamed. It is amazing how the fight for equality is faced with so much resistance. I'm reminded of a conversation that I had with a former supervisor a little over a year or so ago. Being that I'm a retired 20-year combat veteran who served in the United States Army, there is this misperceived notion that I align with what I call false patriotism, all because I wore the uniform. But in that conversation, he asked me, don't you think it's sad that they're changing the names of our military bases? I responded, no. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, the bases should have never been named after Confederate leaders. I went on to remind him that I'm a proud Black American soldier fighting for the liberties of all Americans. It was sad for me to have to enter onto a base that I knew men saw my race as property and not human. These things are too current to be recorded in any history books. But as for the plight of blacks in America, that hasn't changed. But as we look forward to our future generation, let's keep an eye upon what narrative they're going to try and tell about today's events tomorrow. The book that I would recommend for your Black History Library is So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijima Alua. Before we wrap up today, I want to make sure you don't miss this opportunity. The stories we've covered are just the beginning. At unlockingblackhistory.com, you can dive deeper with our free community, exclusive content, and a workbook designed to help you reflect and grow. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. I'll see you at the next video.